round. Not necessary for Seth to throw away that AK either. He does have armor as well. It's a lot of money potentially saved here if he can carry that on into the next round.
Yeah, I mean, they're hitting max loss bonus right now, and some players are sitting on 3,500, so MVP are not going to have struggles to buy up in the future. And as you say, doing damage with that kind of round is really effective from the CT side. So SK, they'll get out alive and ahead 5-0, as you would expect on this T side of Inferno, but MVP will at least have everything they want. They can pull in the AWP, potentially two if they really want to go for that, but maybe a bit early.
That might be... Well, it's going to be interesting to see what is in store for MVP. We saw them kicking off the game with extreme aggression. Obviously, if they're feeling as confident to do so in a buy round versus SK, it's a completely different question, but we'd kind of like to see that might be the case. And here we go, double off setup, so full-on committal here. Might actually be off the back of the fact that Seth has a bit of a bank built up, so they could, you know, in later rounds distribute an additional Colt over to Solo then. But Solo obviously renowned for his offing well, if you want to turn back the clock by a decade or more.
Yeah, I was going to say about 10 years.
Yeah, still cool to see him pick it up. HSK with a forward positioning in mid here. Very easy to get flashed off, but obviously just wants to pick up one player from SK potentially rotating in from second mid. But here we go, Solo with a very untraditional position for an op to have here, playing by sandbags. Just going to take the wide peak now by short wall, and he's going to find Fur as well. Spots more, but here we go. This is the experience we talk about. Knowing that you've put your man or your team up by one player, no need to throw that advantage away, and HSK is going to just build up on that. That's fallen down, and we talked about how important that duel is for MVP. HSK getting the better of him that time.
But if anyone can pull himself out of a 3v5 in this spot, it is going to be SK. So MVP can't be too complacent with this B push. Smoke coming in, not landing. They pushed before it, and Zeph lines up 2 frags. Maybe going in for a 30. Swaps positions in the smoke with coldzera, and damage done. Reload found, but coldzera is going to get shot from the site. Solo defends Zeph there in the corner, and MVP, a flawless round on the board. The double AWP has great effect.
Yeah, brilliantly done. 3 of the frags that round coming from Ops. Very well done. A very untraditional setup that we saw from Solo there. Yeah. They put down a short smoke at the top of Banana, and obviously using the sandbags there to kind of peek over it. Very nicely done. Obviously volatile as well. If they get caught up by a flash, that could just spell imminent doom, or instant doom, I should say, for that entire B bomb site. SK though, not really too deterred. 5 rounds in a row. That does leave them with quite a bit of a bank. But Solo once again being aggressive in Banana here. This is very nice to see, showing no respect for the former major champions. Fallen this time though, able to pick up HSK, so not a 5v3 to work with this time around.
Yeah, I like the late mid peak from Fallen. HSK jump spots on the mid peak to make sure there's no AWP posted, and once he doesn't see Fallen, he goes for the fight, and Fallen re-peak, so well timed. SK back into a 4-on-4 and back to the A-bomb site, it seems. No control towards Banana allows for the aggressive rotation with MVP, but look at this execute from SK. So many nades thrown in. Zion going to open up, and Glow's found himself on top of the pit as well. But how much can he really get done? No one's coming out of the apartments. The smoke blocks him from short. He's going to have to do something incredible because he's essentially alone on this bomb site. Bomb down, but now, with him still in the pit and SK having not spotted him yet, this creates a good opportunity for the retake. That aggro Banana rotates come through in the form of Solo, and now they can split onto the site. Fallen dead in the apartments. 2 players left up. Glow's cornered coldzera, and he's going to get wallbanged out. Great wallbang by Solo. So aware of what's happening. And now Bolt has to pull out a 1v3. Found the first 2, but it's not going to happen. MVP, a second round on the board, and while it's costly, it's a second round.
Yeah, a round's a round. Absolutely. Also, you know, that does take a bite into the economy of SK as well. That bank is starting to dwindle as well. And that's just really cool. Really well done, actually, by MVP. Showing poise there to not get too aggressive. You can see how patient Glow was, just sitting on top of that broken wall in pit, potentially peering over towards anyone coming out from pit. We have seen FaZe do a similar strategy where Kerrigan is kind of the late lurker jumping at a balcony. Because for SK, when they deploy that kind of a strategy, they know that there's probably somebody pit, but it's just kind of a delayed strategy, or they're just kind of delaying the problem of dealing with him. But obviously, if they can get side control, having 3 people, you know, peering towards the guy in pit, that should be a battle you win. But Glow being so patient, not giving them any opportunities to actually be taken out before his teammates actually show up is really well done. And Solo obviously being able to be just near enough to hear Fallen scoping, knowing his exact position as he peers up mid and checks into Boiler. That's really cool, and it's forced SK to take a timeout. maybe some, you know,
yeah, I mean,
old memories are flashing by
right
right
now.
now.
Get the timeouts in early before this goes out of control. You never know with these kind of matchups, you know. There's so little pressure on MVP that upsets are always prevalent. Zeph towards a banana here, gonna nade out Fallen. Good damage, 4 HP left on the AWPer.
Well, those double nades really doing work there. And again, yeah, MVP just realizing, yeah, we're going to have to expend way too much utility here to actually retake control of Banana, so it's fine. We're just going to have to play passive. One issue though, no smokes left on that bomb. Oh, well, one smoke I should say. Solo actually with both Molotov and smoke grenade. But again, I'm liking the approach from MVP here. They're clearly done their homework, and oftentimes when we've seen Asian teams play in the past, it's been, well, very confusing to say the least when it comes to their decision making. Not been the case for MVP so far.
Yeah, communication is also a big thing, right? When we look to Tyloo and them all speaking different languages, etc. But that's not going to apply here to MVP at the very least. Obviously, all being Korean does help.
There's a bit of a benefit. HSK smoked out of position here, taking up a very passive angle, and this could be troublesome for Sign and Glow here. They do have a double setup in pit though, which can be very very strong. And if HSK can pick up one of the SK players peering past here, that could be all it takes. Fallen still on 4 HP. One man has made a pass, and that's for HSK needs to reposition here. He does so as well.
He could be wrapped from the library. That's the big thing to worry about. So he'll pre-rotate to B, but look at this. Yeah, it's going to be an A play with 25 seconds left. Taco in the apartments with the bomb as well. And while we have Glow back on the balcony with Zine and Pit as well, this is going to be a big ask for MVP. The one benefit they do have is the smoke has just been placed. So 15 seconds left. Make that now 10. MVP might be able to delay this bomb plant enough. It's actually thrown out of the apartments. They need to get the bomb. Is there even time? SK have to get the bomb down right now. No, it's at the back of the site. Great defense from MVP, but massive blunder from SK there.
Oof. SK. Yeah, dropping the ball right there. They had all the control they wanted. Obviously, very well done by MVP to be able to conserve their utility for that long. But man, oh man, you know, we talked about how, you know, the solid decision making is what we've seen out of MVP so far. I have to question the rotation from HSK over towards that B bomb side. I'm not really sure what sold him on that, because there was no presence from SK at all towards B.
I think the big thing was he saw Fur cross, right? So he knows he can be wrapped from library, sitting in that CT position. Yeah. He's either going to be flanked if Fur wants to, or he has to just run away. It's a very awkward spot to be in. But HSK back to mid this time. Fur's going to catch out Zine going for the peak. Flash is well timed, and HSK won't shoot, so he gets shot in the back. SK, they try and go for a little more fast-paced approach, and that is exactly what they need to catch off the Koreans. A 5-on-2 initially, and already MVP separated. And on the other side of the map, that was definitely what SK needed to throw in.
Definitely was, and you can see how caught off HSK is. He still tries to go for that same peek in towards second mid. Really, SK haven't really shown too many instances of where they actually want to take that duel at all. We've seen Fallen do it once with... no, actually, no, that was just like a mid peek. So 0 instances of SK peering in from the second mid, and that definitely catches them off guard. Definitely could have turned around, obviously, if that secondary player from MVP finds the first frag onto Fur, and that does stem the tide a little bit. HSK also, you know, basically, you know, hitting the field goal kick as they run up mid is also unfortunate.
Zeph going for the Doja there.
Cheeky. Not going to pan out though. It's unfortunate as well, because obviously SK, they lost that previous round with running out of time, didn't get a bomb plant, so basically they were broke at that point. The only reason they were able to buy up is because so many players survived at that point. But we could have been looking at an MVP actually forcing SK to an eco and subsequently, you know, 2 more rounds.
Yeah, I mean, if SK didn't keep 5 alive in that previous round, then this could have been very, very scary, of course, with MVP having the chance, because, you know, 3 in a row, they've got money, they've got the AWP back in play. Zine somewhat limited for weaponry on an MP9. At least we have that up. That could definitely be a factor to take into account. SK have hit Banana fast, though, this time. Again, looking to go for a quick approach to a bomb site. It worked out in the previous.
And MVP not willing to take that fight. Obviously, don't have the same amount of utility as SK does, but they have boosted up towards that B-bomb. You can see Seth, who has been, well, naded to bits and pieces, taking up that mantle. And, well, 3-man rotation here. We're at that B-bomb side. It's HSK with that off. I'm more of a fan of this kind of rotation, because now there's actually been presence made by SK towards the banana area. If anything, I think HSK maybe would like to play towards the coil area to get potentially an early pick before SK actually execute onto the site, and that would also allow MVP to actually rotate one man off if SK goes quiet. They seem to want to commit here. 2 players still towards A though, which is interesting, and there we go. HSK finds the first frag on this Taco. I don't think the bomb has been spotted though.
No, they could easily back off here and go back towards A, especially if Zion goes down here. If SK get the pick, surely they fully rotate. So this MP9 needs to have effect, and it needs to start now. He spots third, pre-fire comes in, but first too quick. Alive on 13 HP, SK look to maybe hit this A bomb site now because it's only Glow towards the back of the pit. We've seen him do great work before, and again, SK are on low time. This has come back to haunt them in previous rounds, so Glow, he just needs to stay alive and try and, you know, deny this bomb plant. 20 seconds left. Are SK going to work out exactly where he is? They don't have a Molotov for the pit. He spots someone on the peak, and he sees the bomb go to the site, but he can't stop it from going down. They're trying to chase him, and Burr finds a shot with the AWP, so SK bomb down, and again, 10 seconds left, but they'll finally win the round, it seems.
And honestly, I'm kind of a little bored with the decision-making from MVP there as well. Stacking up, just committing to having 3 players on that B bomb side, that does set them up in a situation where they can actually hold on to these guns going into the next round. Zeph, in a situation where, you know, potentially he can actually drop one Colt over to one of his teammates as well, and they could get a similar buy. Obviously, utility is going to be a bit of an issue, but I think this is the better way of going about it, instead of having late rotations, not necessarily being able to help out Glow necessarily, who's kind of stuck in pit to his own devices. So long-term wise, this is the right choice from MVP.
Well, let's stay up to 7th round on their T side. So aside from a couple of blunders, they're still looking good coming into this first map. It is, of course, MVP's pick as well, so that's something you have to take into account.
And you could just imagine if there's anybody else than Zion in that arch area. Like if anyone with a Colt in that situation, obviously Fur goes down instead of being on 13 HP, because that was what headshot and about 4 other body shots or something going into Fur, and he survived on 13 HP. And you know, that could swing the tide of the round completely. Again, it stems the push from SK's side, allows for a rotation to come in time, and also allows for Glow to have more room to actually, you know, work around that pit area.
And they only got the bomb down with 10 seconds left as well. Yep. So say we factor in another few seconds of that kill of Fur going the way of MVP, and boom, yeah, you're right. The round's definitely won by MVP at that point. SK need to watch out, because that's one of the things, right? If they are using this utility early and going for these early B executes, they need to make sure they save a Molotov for pick. Multiple rounds, Glow has stayed alive in there far too long.
Yep.
And it's come back to haunt them once, and I'm sure it will again.
He's just posted up his tent there pretty much, refusing to move. But yeah, MVP showing promise here, even though the scoreline might necessarily tell that. I'm actually pretty positively surprised by what we've seen from the South Koreans so far. Again, they do opt to go for that buy, since Zeph did drop off one weapon. This time it's going to be Glow though, with the MP9, not Sign. And I think that's a fair decision. Ooh, Zeph.
Flash, that's actually going to completely catch Zeph off guard. He gets one before he goes down, but with Solo dropping as well, SK, they could burst this B bomb site. They actually do slow down. This allows for a rotation of MVP, but SK is still going to be here before the CTs do. They'll start to wrap the backside of the ruins, but the smoke's going down. SK have full control over the bomb site. 3v3 and no utility left for MVP. Zion's going to be flashed on through potentially. He sits on the edge of the smoke, but he can't find an angle. The wallbang puts coldzera down to 14, but he'll just survive, and he's still lethal even with 10 health. Third rotation only just coming in. What's happening for Glow? This has taken far too long. Maybe expecting SK to have a bit of presence on the other side of the map, but no. All 3 of these Ts sat in the bomb site. And MVP, smoke up. That'll be good for at least the post plant, actually. It catches off anyone pushed down Banana, so Fallen's got to walk forward on the other side of it. coldzera still holding the crossfire, but Fur's already kicked things off, so this is going to be a very difficult retake for MVP, trying to isolate the kills. Glow will, but he won't check the right corner. Still somehow catches Fallen. coldzera's on the wrong side as well, but HSK's run out of time. Pistol out, gets the frag, but he doesn't get the round.
Still, though, they do remarkable work there with the MP9 on Glow, compared to what I expected them to do there. A bit unfortunate that Solo gets taken out through the boxes there out in Banana to try to go for the double peek. And obviously, when you lose control over the B bomb site that quickly, which is one of the downsides of playing aggressively, obviously, it's really tough for MVP to set up any sort of retake, especially with their economic state, really. Limited utility that doesn't allow really for you to have solid retakes. Because the one flash that they threw in didn't really do a whole lot. So
I did like that smoke though. You don't see that too commonly on the retake from Ruins. It completely cuts off SK from having any Banana presence, and when you have a 3-man CT rotation, that's perfect.
Oh, HSK, very aggressive. I'm liking this. Oh, doesn't manage to connect the shot, but still, definitely a valiant effort and a good idea.
when you have one AWP, of course, you're going to need to start things off with the pick because everyone else on pistols and everyone else so limited here. No one on armor. SK going to burst up towards the A side. Zion will kick off with one. 1-for-1's good when you only have pistols, but instead it's traded back in the favor of SK. HSK caught it out of position. Bolt's going to tag him down. He's also being wrapped from coldzera up on the long side, but the nade, that will seal the deal. This round, again, looks to be over.
Yeah. Again, starts off pretty decently for MVP there. Glow finding the pick onto Taco and Apps, and then Sign following up. It's the fact that HSK is not able to get around Arch Corner in time to actually help out any of his teammates before they fall. That becomes the downfall of MVP. Definitely making SK work here. No doubt about that. And Solo, well, didn't come into the round with an AK, but has managed to find Tacos. If he's able to hold on to that going into the next round, that would be a pretty gigantic plus. Also has a Molotov and a flashbang to couple with that AK and ZZ. No interest from SK in hunting as of right now.
Still pretty good though on the T side, 9 rounds.
Yeah.
Money being built for SK, they're keeping plenty of players alive in these rounds that they're winning. So it started off a bit dangerous, a bit back and forth obviously, but we've yet to see MVP get 1 out of the last 6, I think it is. So SK starting to solidify their place into this map, flex their muscles maybe. MVP are back on the buy. They do have only 1 kit though, that's something to take into account. Good utility on everyone else apart from Glow though, so this is actually a real full buy for MVP. The next opportunity to get around on the board as we're entering the latter stage of the half. If they want to have any chance to actually pick up this map, they're going to need 1 or 2 more.
Yeah, this is very true. Again, quick push up towards middle here from SK. This caught MVP rather off guard last time around.
Oh, Sign.
Aim punch coming into play there a little bit. Down he goes. That's Arch completely open, and obviously the entryway towards B through spawn as well.
And the Molotov going down to pit. SK not
starting to learn.
Not going to make the same mistakes as earlier, it seems. Glow sits there, but Bolt has already caught an aggressive rotation down Banana, so MVP, they've given up another frag. SK had even wrapped this B site if they want, but there's no need. coldzera, entry onto Glow and pit. Needs to check below him. He's actually standing on the head of his opponent, but he'll get him anyway. HSK dropping the AWP. And Zeph now in a 1v4. I don't think this one's doable, to be honest, Vendetta.
No, it's definitely not. No kit either. And again, it's going to be a situation where MVP has to hope that he's able to hold on to the weapon, but Fur has been lurking around in CT spawn the entire time. He's approaching Jaws team queued, and Sev is going to win that duel. But obviously it gives away his position as well. Nobody from SK really nearby, though, as of right now. coldzera coming in towards Banana. We'll be able to close it out. So 10 rounds on the board for SK. But, you know, it's not necessarily just a given that SK are picking up these rounds, which is kind of the positive to take out of this for MVP. Obviously, you know, if this ends up being a 16-3, it's not necessarily going to look too pretty on the scoreboard, but they've definitely had their chances here. But again, that quick tempo from SK. Sign not really able to get going here, and we talked about him in the pre-match, how he's going to be a vital part of this MVP team if they're going to have a shot at it. And he's having a real rough go of it compared to what he has in the past. Solo gets tagged down as well to 15 HP, so probably not going to be able to have an aggressive stance with that op as well.
I do like this buy though from MVP. They had them run up the rifles, but they opted to go for mainly SMGs so they could get that utility. Obviously so important for CT side Inferno. While HSK won't buy up nades, it's one of the few rifles they actually have to play with. He's already going to get taken down on long Fur, opening up with Taco alongside him, and with Solo getting back earlier nades up towards the top of Banana. This could be dangerous, but now they've pulled this back. What's happened here?
Sign with a bit of a flank from CPL there to find Fallen unaware in mid, and that's going to allow MVP to have the man advantage. At least low HP though on Solo. Still not going to be able to delay any sort of plans though. Only 2 players left and 1 flashbang for SK to work with in this retake. No Molotovs unfortunately for MVP, but they do have a nade, 3 flashes and a smoke here, so definite opportunity.
And look how passive SK are playing. MVP are given all this control towards mid. They can push, towards CT. They can push up towards Banana, make sure everything's clear. They've got to check the site now. Now players start to push it. Bolt spraying, but he can't connect it. Glow will find the frag. Taco catches a player off guard watching Banana, but he's got 2 more to get. Time is ticking away. There's the second. No way Taco will get this. Oh, he won't. Zion finds it, but is there time?
Oh, I think there just barely isn't.
No, I think he's just got it. There we go.
Well, squeaky bum time for MVP, but they do manage to bring it back. That's a 4th round on the board. surprised we didn't get to see all of the utility that MVP actually had in that scenario. They barely used any of it.
Yeah.
That nade, if that goes into the corner of either dark corner or new boxes, then that would have done significant damage to both Bolts and Taco. Would have made it a tiny bit easier. Sign, maybe Nerves getting to him, but obviously that's a pretty easy frag. He should be getting almost immediately after Glow gets taken out from behind new boxes. But in the end, it's the end result that matters. And they do pick up a round. Still, though, the buy isn't too pretty. Looking at it, MP9 in play for HSK, UMPs, and FAMAS's as well. Solo gets forced back from Banana initially. Also going down here. Really adamant about fighting back and not giving SK free control of Banana for right now.
But SK diving through the smoke once again. This worked previously, but MVP posted a little more passive on this side of the map. We're going to attempt with the orb. Got to watch out because now Fallen's climbing on top of the wood as well, and he's coping pretty well. Solo just dodging that shot.
That's ballsy from Solo right there. Fallen doesn't miss too many of those actually. Well, seems like the Banana battle has seceded for now, and SK shift their focus towards his A bomb site. Passive setup from MVP this time. Not really focusing too much on Arch. You can see the FOB flash coming out there. Sign just making sure, keeping tabs. SK have been very adamant about wanting to wrap whenever they've approached that A bomb site. So obviously that's in the back of the head of the Korean players. For now though, still some utility left here. Time is starting to dwindle down.
And this utility usage is really good as well. Molly goes out right as the T's throw. There's the balcony. MVP are forced off, but 27 seconds left. We've got crossfire set up from pit site. We've got 2 players on the site as well. This could be good here for the MVP side. HSK kicking things off. Glow does try to come in, but HSK 3 kills with the MP9 of all the guns to find frags. He gets everything. Taco's in the pit now, swap positions with Glow. They've got to clear up both spots on the site, and they won't expect the corner. Zion, he just dinks, goes for the kill. 1 more left to find. Taco's got no time, and that is MVP picking up the fifth round of the half, sorry. Bit messy.
A bit messy, but man, those MP9s are doing work for MVP right now. They just get picking up 3 frags, but that's a really cool setup as well. Normally, you would expect 1 person to be in that corner. Obviously, HSK probably shouldn't be able to get 3 frags out of it, but even then, you have Cyan as a bit of a backup or plan B. And obviously that pans out really nicely.
Yeah, I would say don't bait like that in your matchmaking games, but when you have
you're not going to make friends like that way, for sure.
But when you at least plan around it, I mean, that's great, right? coldzera had no idea there was a player behind him. No peeking. As HSK is mowing down 3 players, Zion's just holding, playing passive, making sure that he is completely unsuspected when SK hit the site. Yeah,
no, it's really cool. And you can see that that's something they've thought through as well, because you could see HSK kind of crossing over from quad when the smoke goes down to get into that position. So, yeah, MVP definitely have put in work, and oh, that's a dink onto Solo, down to 2 HP right off the bat, and he's got a ton of utility as well.
Yeah, you've got to be careful there if you're taking that fight mid. Nades do go up, forcing Fallen back off the angle, and Zion gets a kill on A. That may force a rotation, or at least keep Bolts on this side of the map for the time being. But with SK running double long, they can easily get back into this B site. MVP are going to need picks instantly. Fallen, flash towards CT, pushes in through the smoke, but he won't find it. Gets information, but bomb yet to be spotted. Fur and Fallen both picking up a frag each. coldzera takes one down in mid, and MVP, they've got the nades, but they're falling apart here in this pistol round. Only Solo left, and I think SK are going to have an easy job of clearing him up.
Yeah, well, he does find Fallen as a bit of a parting gift, but just very well done by SK there. Individual skill shining through. Fallen also picking up that 1 frag as he re-enters through the smoke. And, well, you might question whether or not MVP should have stayed true to their initial plan of actually going towards B. Once Sign finds that pick, maybe it's, a better idea to let Sign continue on his mission towards that A-bomb site, see how many people have actually rotated over, what kind of information he can gain from his team before they actually execute. But again, it is a bit of a learning experience for these guys.
Look at this buy from SK as well, so confident. Of course they are 11-5 up. But 4 SMGs in play here, looking to copy the strats of MVP with these MP9s. It's full Glocks here for the T side, and after not getting the bomb down, full Glocks, this isn't the most common strategy, I gotta say.
No, it definitely isn't, and it's unfortunate for them seeing how SK have so many SMGs, so they're going to be able to stack up a ton of cash here potentially.
Off finds 2, going to shut them down with the M4. That's now picked up as well, so despite their lack of armor, still a dangerous gun to be up against these SMGs. Although Taco around in the corner trying to get rid of them initially. Glow does find 1, but yeah, here comes the cleanup crew. This should be fine for SK. Only 4 HP left for the final player of MVP. And now this makes me question, with them full Glock round in this round, do they buy up next? Or are they just trying to get extra utility? Because the thing is, on T side, you can still get a full buy on the 4th round without having to full eco the 2nd.
Exactly, and I'm expecting them to buy up in this kind of a scenario, seeing how they've done that. Which I'm not really sure I'm too big of a fan of, but then again, we have to consider the fact that SK did just invest heavily into SMGs. They're not going to upgrade in this round, most likely. They also lost the one Colt that they had on Fur, so that's going to be obviously, you know, some money that they need to reinvest into, even though they picked it up eventually. But yeah, it could be really interesting. I think they might be.
Yeah, they forced.
But this is kind of a cool vibe. This is something we've seen G2 do more of. You know, putting those Galils into use, definitely not a bad weapon. I also have a little bit of utility to work with here. 2 Molotovs, 3 smokes. So enough for an execute towards any of the bomb sites. Now it's just a matter of figuring out what they want to do.
You can see SK's playing this perfectly. They know exactly what's about to come. They've got 3 M4s in play after an SMG round. You know, this should be the full eco. So SK know completely what is up for MVP. Yeah. That's the only issue. For them to run this strat, they have to full Glock the 2nd round, and SK see the full Glock and they go, okay, they're going to force 3rd.
Yeah, and that's very heads up. Some teams probably let greed get the better of them in those scenarios and just stick with SMGs, and I want to see how that plays out. But SK not letting that happen. Trying to get a little bit lucky there. Let's go out. Ooh, that's a perfect flash. Poland sets up for success there, finds HSK and Glow, and that puts him on 3 total for this round so far. And while Sign does find Coldzera and Arch, still tons of work to be done. Bomb still dropped in Banana. Well, this is a bit of a hole MVP have dug themselves into.
Yeah, and using that smoke to just get the bomb as well. They don't have much map control to work with. Zine tries to get up towards long, but he gets shut down from bolts. And Zeph, he's got to get that lost bonus money, so he's probably just going to go for this. Push up towards the A site, see if he can get an opening pick. But with SK running a 2-2 setup and having tradable positions from both sides of the map, this isn't realistic. 13 seconds left. Taco's going to hit the footsteps, and that'll be all they need. Flash out, Zeph avoids it, but he'll also not spot anyone on the site. Taco gets rid of him. So SK 13-5. This is shaping out to be the game we kind of expected now, isn't it?
It is. And, well, if you do that kind of a buy in... you know, from the side of MVP, you kind of need to have a more set plan of what you want to do, because you can't fight for map control. That's one of the things that's just completely out of the window, because you have so limited utility. Those 2 Molotovs you have, those are going to have to use to clear out spots on the actual site. The 3 smokes you have as well. So you can't necessarily go into that round expecting to fight for banana control, because SK are definitely going to have more utility than you to work with. So that's something that they will have to look into if they want to continue doing buys like this. But, you know, it's definitely a worthwhile idea to throw out there. Now, we're just seeing pistols, P250s and ZZs being picked up. Pulls it up in the new corner, gets back up from Coldzera. That's a favorable trade for SK. Goes down as well, though. So 2 weapons picked up here for MVP in a 3v3 situation. No armor, though.
Oh, look at this as well. SK have left B. Fur's going to realize the error of his ways, so he backs off to the site, but the only player with utility here, Fur is the perfect man for the B-bomb site. The choke point, will they get past before the Molotov's down? That's a yes. Fur's wrapped the back of the coffin, so he'll hear this. Always going to try and push him. He'll get taken down. Nade in for Fur. Just trying to chip away at these low HP players with lack of armor on these players. HSK tagged, Zine dropped, and now the pistol out for Fur. Just going to hunt this 3rd kill. HSK has to force a 1-on-2. This is not going to happen. SK 14 rounds, but a bomb plant and 2 kills from pretty much a full eco from MVP. I mean, it's, again, we're grabbing at straws here, but at least it's something. Yeah,
there are positives out of it, for sure. A bit of an over-rotation allows for the bomb plant to happen for MVP, though, so a bit of a mistake on the end of SK. But they do have a pretty big cushion to play off of here, so they're probably not going to be too worried about that. And I think you can tell that Sign is not necessarily too comfortable with the op in hand there. We saw HSK being the one with the rifle in that scenario. Kind of jumped out just in full speed, trying to side strafe for as they did a double peek there, and that didn't quite pan out. But it could have been a very interesting round, obviously, if they're able to trade off for Solo in that situation, especially because Solo was the one without any weapons.
Oh, SK straight into this round, aggressive in mid. They want to try and catch MVP. they will. Already trades coming through, but they're in the favour of the CT side. Design needs to find this kill, and he does, but it's too little, too late. A 1v2 now. Tackle volley out. Design just going to get caught in the flame. So SK, 15 rounds to 5, MVP. Their one opportunity back into the map, Vendetta, and SK rush mid.
Yeah, that's just the knife in the back, really, or no, well, not back necessarily. It was right to their face. But, you know, similar approach as to what MVP tried to start off the game with in their pistol round. But there we see how it's meant to go. SK just completely catching MVP off guard. Well done. And that's obviously super frustrating to play versus. When you play versus teams who are, again, assumed to be quite a bit better than you, and they play with no respect. They don't allow you to actually set up for your defaults and all the kinds of things that you have planned, and it's really tough to, on the fly, come up with a good solution as to how you're going to deal with it.
Luckily they have a buy here, but no AWP, limited nades, no Molotovs left, just 10 seconds into the round, so MVP slightly limited here, looking for some form of mid-take. They want to execute quickly, but SK respond with Molotovs to slow down this push. Still, the smokes will outlast them, so they can continue to rush after those flames expire, and Bolts, he's going to hold close to the corner. Everyone's spraying desperately, but it actually works out for MVP. However, look at the health left. 3 players on 20 HP, and the Molotov from Taco got to do great work to glow. Solo tries to push up short, but Cold Zero is too patient. 1 kill from him, and 1 more spotted in the apartment to get rid of him easily. Maybe even a 3rd, but it's traded back for HSK, who's caught in the open. Fallen will finish off that map, and SK 16 to 5 on the map pick of MVP. Confident.